Hey guys, it's Roscoe, and on Space Couch today we're going to be having a look at this Tri-Jets by Robbie Short, TriStars DC-10s and MD-11s. This is continuing in our aircraft series. So there's a great one there of an American Airlines DC-10, the classic 70s colours, absolutely love them. And there's one, there's a great one coming in over the runway. So what do we have? Rich International TriStar. I've flown on this airline. I went on holiday to Florida with my very good friend Lee Silver in August 1996 for a fly drive for about 10 days, 2 weeks. And about halfway through that holiday, the airline went bust. We ended up coming back on a Laker Airways DC-10 Columbia Bell, I believe it was, because they were then flying their scheduled charters across the Atlantic. Yes, so we flew in from Gatwick into Orlando on Rich International. I swear, it's like, you could tell the plane had been all around the houses. The seatbelt signs were in Japanese. The trolley cart was Pan Am, and the entertainment system was Hawaiian Airlines. So yes, and we had to fly back from Fort Lauderdale for a flight. It's a shame they went bust. They were an absolute classic airline going back to the 40s, I believe. There is a string of Caledonian Airways TriStars, I think one DC-10 in there. Classic looks, of course, at the DC-10. Now, when I was growing up, the TriStar was always my very favourite plane. The DC-10 less so, although I thought they were both great. Having flown on them both, though, there's the old Continental livery, which looks great on there. I must say, I far preferred the DC-10. It has that really long, low takeoff, which is amazing. And maybe it's because it was the airline I was on with the TriStar. It just was a terrible flight. Love the battleship grey. Not many of the DC-10s were painted in that. It does look good in the bowling shoe. I don't think any of their DC-10s lasted for the final livery before the merger Delta. The Delta merger. Now there's a great one of a United DC-10. Isn't that just fantastic? Looks great on there. It's Western Airlines, of course, taken over by Delta, and I think those ships were sold on. This Leisure International used to fly from Stansted to San Francisco, I believe, in some country, a Minnesota-based charter airline. I believe they're still going. Love these colours on the old Canadian Airlines, it's CP Pacific rather, and there's Federal Express. That is, of course, the later, not the final livery, the penultimate livery of Canadian Airlines. The last one had the Arctic Goose on it. And there's Viasa, another one of those Venezuelan carriers. It's long gone now. Great colours on that. Viasa again, and also Varig, who have long since gone, replaced by the likes of, say, Gol and Tama, I suppose, and Land Chile and all the others. There is the Uruguayan carrier Pluna. There is UTA, that French independent carrier that was followed up by Air France in the early 1990s, I believe. Classic plane, classic airline, Swissair. I always loved this livery with the the brown cheek line. This whole move towards standard Euro white bodies, I have to say it's a bit boring, and I hope we move away from it. Now, obviously, a spin-off of Scandinavian Airlines, Scanair, even taking the same scheme that they had in the 80s, and Premier, I think that is, another similar carrier. Classic. Lufthansa DC-10 just looks absolutely marvellous. Loved the plane in that livery. You can just make out the back here. There's a DC-10 in the newer livery, which is a very rare shot indeed. I don't think very many of them were ever painted in that scheme. Now, they have their charter spin-off Condor, of course, which flies many European destinations and, I guess, long-haul leisure routes. Finnair, obviously, they were the launch customer, took first delivery of the MD-11. Iberia, I think they lost a couple of theirs to crashes very soon after getting them. And this Challenger, that's been on one of those anonymous charter airlines. Alitalia, I believe this plane has actually got the Northwest colours, or Continental, it might have been, on the reverse side. They were doing a code share. And there's a bunch of BA planes at, I assume it would be Gatwick as its DC-10s. There's a couple of them there. Great shot there of the BA DC-10. Obviously, they inherited their fleet from British Caledonian after the merger. Weren't intending to hold on to them, but they proved such sterling service. I think they had them for like 10 years after the merger. Now there's Caledonian Classic, of course, and there is later in the BA version of that livery for the charter holidays. Just wonderful. Yes, Caledonian became Cal Air and then Novair and then went bust. Krasair, Russian carrier, long since gone. Nigeria Airways, long since gone. Zambia Airways, long since gone. Zambia, I believe, were the last to buy a new DC-10, or rather they got the last one off the production line. Very attractive livery for Ghana Airways and Air Afrique, both long since gone as well, of course. Air Afrique was that regional carrier for French West Africa. Thai Airways, classic shot. Philippine Airways in the old pre-Sunburst livery, and JAL in the 70s livery there. It was very attractive in that colour scheme. There is the more modern JAL scheme, like the cigarette end, as we say. There is their charter carrier, and there is another JAL. That looks like Hong Kong there. Couple more Asians. Biman Bangladesh, the old Malaysian, and Garuda Indonesia. I think they've also upgraded the scheme since then. Tri-Stars now. There's a classic shot of a Delta Tri-Star. More classic shots of Delta taking off there. Wonderful plane. So beautiful. There's a full Rich International livery there, which is very attractive. American Trans loved that livery. Obviously, it evolved several times. I think they ended up as part of America West, but I think it ended up as part of US Air, which merged with American Airlines, I think. You know, it's very convoluted. There we go, is TWA, classic shot. Hawaiian Airlines, obviously Rich International, one of their planes came from there. And there, of course, classic Eastern Airways, you know, Eastern Airlines rather. And they were the launch company, customer, I believe, for the TriStar. Now, classic Air Canada TriStar. This one, I think there's a couple of them, they've been put into storage, but they were reactivated for in early 1990s, I think, for a year or so. So they actually got painted in that then new colour scheme with the dark green. Nobody expected to see it. More Canadian charter airlines. Air Transat flown on them, they were fine. Royal never flown on them. And who is that? That's just Tunis Air, plane on lease. Classic livery, absolutely gorgeous. The Royal Jordanian Alia livery. I believe that hasn't changed, it's still the same one now. It is beautiful. Classic shots, Saudia, Gulf Air, Dragonair. Love the old Saudia livery. Couple of charter carriers picking up planes as we were coming to the end of these flights. Spot what airline that used to be with, for instance. There's that Air Ops, I think operating for Air Sudan or Sudan Airways, and that's one that's just parked somewhere. Obviously, it used to be with Cathay Pacific. There's the Caledonian, beautiful livery. Obviously, it was very much based on that Labrador livery, British Airways of the 1990s, late 80s, early 90s. TAP Air Portugal. Loved that livery. I quite like their current one as well, with the big writing billboards as well. Dragonair LTU, another classic German carrier, of course, long since gone. There we have it, the Cathay Pacific TriStar in that classic jade green livery. Just beautiful planes. The 747 and JAL in the background, some sense of size. You see Northwest and Air France at the bottom here. This is obviously the old Kai Tak airport in Hong Kong, which was closed many years ago. ANA, very rare to actually see one of their TriStars in the modern livery. Air Lanka and British West Indian Airways, classic carrier, I think they're now Caribbean Airways. These guys, Sri Lankan Airways they are now, and obviously All Nippon, same livery they have now. TriStar no longer part of their fleet, of course, long since gone. The MD-11 Delta Airlines. Hong Kong was right at the extreme edge of its livery. This is one of the reasons why it had so many problems. It didn't meet its specifications. For instance, Singapore Airlines had ordered, I believe, 17 of them. Just before launch and first flight and all of that, they cancelled their order and ordered like 17 Airbus A340s and said it was a huge deal at the time and was widely seen as a terribly damaging blow to the MD-11, and other airlines cancelled their orders in due course. Ironically, those A340s were later traded in for Boeing 777s, you know, by Singapore Airlines. So that became, there's World Airways, their charter carrier, American Airlines with the MD-11s. So yes, that kind of what goes around comes around, I suppose. FedEx, Varig again. The MD-11 was very popular in Brazil and with cargo carriers as well. Swissair and VASP, another very attractive livery from Brazil. There's Swiss still in the old style livery. And there's LTU and Alitalia. I forgot Alitalia had MD-11s, to be honest. I didn't realise. Love these colours on LTU. Ah, yes, there's a classic Kaitak approach. I love their classic carriers. The Dutch KLM and Martinair, obviously they only now do cargo flights. Finnair, the launch customer for the MD-11. JAL, they ordered some. Again, it didn't quite match their expectations, so they didn't really extend their options. China Airlines, who's this? China Eastern, based in Shanghai. This is based in Taipei, of course. And Thai Airways and Mandarin. This one have been on lease from China Airlines. It might be the one that ended up upside down and crashed. There's footage of it. I love this livery on the MD-11. And that is it. There's Korean Air, and there is Garuda Indonesia. That is TriStar's MD-11s and DC-10s, some of my favourite planes, because nowadays they all seem to be wide-body twins. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment suggesting what could be topic you'd like to see discussed. I liked the video.